All right, so we're going to talk about long and synthetic division today. And long division is exactly what you think it is. It's long division like you used to do in elementary school. Okay, so when you first learned how to divide and you had to write that bar and like all that big list of stuff. We're going to go over a problem that mirrors that, and then we're going to do this exactly the same. We're going to do it the same. So I'm actually going to start off with a sheet of paper so I can show you that. You don't have to write this down at all. It's just to show you how it works. So I make some random numbers for like long division back in the day. I have no idea if this will work, okay? But it doesn't matter if it doesn't, okay? I don't want it to be perfect, really. So how do we, sorry, y'all. How do we divide this? Like back in the day, how do we divide it? Six. Will 6 go into 4? No, so we just went to the other. 49. Will 6 go into 49? How many times? 8. What do we do after that?
You put 48 under the 49.
How'd you get 48? And I know this is going to sound stupid, but just trust me on this, okay? How do you get 48?
6 times 8.
Yeah, you multiply them together. So we multiply them together. 6 times 8 is 48. What do we do now? We subtract. Mm-hmm. And we get 1. What do we do now?
Bring down the 5 down.
And then we start completely over, right? Okay. How many times will 6 go into 15?
2.
2. I multiply those together. 2 times 6 is 12. I subtract, and I get 3. Then I do it again. I bring down the 3 and start over. How many times will 6 go into 33?
5.
6 times 5 is 30. I subtract it and get 3. I bring down the 8. How many times will 6 go into 38?
6.
I get 36. I subtract it. I get 2. I bring down the 2. How many times will 6 go into 22?
3.
Which gives me 18. And what happens right here?
You put a decimal up top.
No, I'm not putting no decimals. What do you do? I'm kind of smiling underneath here. We don't want to do a decimal. How do we, what did you write when you were little?
A 0.
Did you?
A remainder.
Yes, a remainder. So 22 minus 18 is 4. So you put R4, right? Does everybody remember that? All right, so what this actually is and where the decimal comes from, because I don't know that you've ever been taught this, and I've never taught it, period. But when I do long and synthetic division, I do teach this. So how do they get that decimal on the end? Your answer is 82563. You're going to put a plus showing that remainder. Your remainder was 4, and you were dividing by 6. 4, and you were dividing by 6. Now look at this. I know that that's not reduced. Just leave it alone for a minute. 82563. 82563 plus 46 gives me this decimal, 0.666. Everybody see that? You okay with that? All right, so what if I do the actual number? Do y'all know that that's what that remainder is supposed to do? That the remainder shows you how to get the decimal? Okay, so now you do, right? So the way that we're always going to write it, because we're about to do it with polynomials, is instead of writing remainder 4 like we did up here, we'll write a plus with the remainder over whatever we divided by, okay? So that's where that's going to come from, but I just wanted to show you numerically. You do the same thing when you're doing long division with polynomials. You do the same thing. Now, what I would suggest is any one of these on this front page, if I'm doing my test, I would never do it long division, okay? I would never do it long division because they don't have a number in front of this factor right here. When they have a number in front, that's when I would do long division. But I'm going to show you long division, and then I'll show you synthetic. You're going to hate long division because it's long. Does everybody understand that? Not hard, long. But then when I get to synthetic, it's like this. So bear with me for long division so I can teach you how to do that, and then I'll show you synthetic, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to put your b plus 1. You're going to write your big fat divide bar. Make sure that this part goes in order. And what I mean by that, it's got to go in descending order. B cubed, b squared, b, no b. If there's anything missing, we have to fill it in with a 0. So for a while, we're not going to have any of that, okay? So 7b cubed plus 14b squared minus 3b minus 16. You only look at this first term, okay? Don't worry about that 1. It'll come in when we multiply, okay? So just look at this b. What can I multiply by this b to get 7b cubed? What do I need? I need a 7, and I need 2 more b's. So 7b squared. Perfect. So just like on our long division, we got 8. What do we do after we got 8? We multiplied it by 6. We're going to do the same thing, but you're multiplying it by both. Okay, multiply by both. So what is 7b squared times b?
7b cubed.
Which is exactly what we want because we want it to cancel out. Remember that. So they should be exactly the same. If they're not, you need to fix it. What is 7b squared times 1? Okay, let's go back to this. We got 48. What did we do after we got 48? We subtracted. So we're going to change the signs. Change the signs. It's subtraction. We do that so the 7b cubed will cancel out. What is 14 minus 7?
7.
What did I do after I got 49 minus 48 is 1?
Brought the other stuff down.
Just that one, that next term, right? So we're going to bring down the next term. And then we start over. So we're doing the same thing. Look at just your first term, b. What can I multiply by b to get 7b squared? And since it's a positive 7b that you need, you're going to write plus 7b. We're going to distribute it. What's 7b times b? 7b squared. What is 7b times 1? 7b. How do I get them to cancel out? Subtract or change the signs. Make sure you change both. What is negative 3 plus negative 7? And then we bring down the minus 16. How many times can I, or what can I multiply by b to get negative 10b? Negative 10, so we're going to put a minus 10 up here. We're going to distribute. Negative 10 times b. They match, so we know we're doing it right. Negative 10 times 1. Negative 10. How do I get them to cancel out? Subtract or?
Change the signs.
Change the signs. Change the signs. Your 10b's cancel out. What is negative 16 plus 10?
6.
I can't multiply anything by b to get negative 6, so we're done. That's our remainder. So this is how you write your solution. Whatever's on top, I always do a plus. You can do a minus. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I just like to keep it consistent, so I do a plus. You write your remainder over, what did we divide by? B plus 1. This is your answer. All right. Look at number 2. We make sure it's in order, n cubed, n squared, n, and no n. Remember, if there's anything missing, you have to fill in with a 0. Start with just the first term. You're only looking at this n. What can I multiply by n to get n cubed? N squared. Perfect, both of you, perfect. Distribute. What is n squared times n? 2 times n squared. 2n squared. Somebody else, what do I do next? Change the signs, great job. That causes your n cubes to cancel out. 12 minus 2, 10n squared. What do I do next? Bring down your 27n. Start all over. What can I multiply by n to get 10n squared? 10n, a positive 10n, so plus 10n. Distribute. What's 10n times n?
10n squared.
Perfect. What is 10n times 2? 20n. How do I get them to cancel out? Change the sign. Perfect. 27 minus 20.
7n.
And then bring down your plus 20. Just make sure you're watching your signs. The thing that'll kill you on this is your signs. That's it. You guys will know how to do it and you work it just fine, but you can't find the answer because you made a positive where it should be a negative or a negative where it should be a positive. That's the typical mistakes that I see in long and synthetic division. What can I multiply by n to get 7n?
7.
A positive 7. Distribute it. 7 times n is 7n. 7 times 2 is 14. How do I get them to cancel? And 20 minus 14 is 6. So my solution, write down what's on top, n squared plus 10n plus 7. I always write plus 6, and you're going to divide by whatever you were dividing by in the first place, n plus 2. Sorry, I'm trying to find some that I think. Okay, go to number 16. Go to number 16. We're not going to do all of these. Like, we're honestly not. But I want to show you some that are missing terms, and I want to show you some with numbers in front as well, okay? So we're probably going to do 2 more long division, and then I'll show you synthetic. And like I said, synthetic is so quick. It's so quick. All right, so let's look at 16. We have v minus 7 in our divide. Look at your trinomial that they have up here. V to the third, v squared, 3. What am I missing? The v. So here's what you're going to write. V cubed minus 7v squared. You can write plus or minus 0. It doesn't matter because it's neither positive or negative. But you have to fill it in, okay? You have to fill it in. Otherwise, it's going to mess your answer up. And then your minus 3. Now it's just the same way as always, okay? I just wanted to show you how to fill in that space. So what can I multiply by v to get v cubed?
V squared.
When I distribute that, what do I get? What about the very first one? V cubed minus 7v squared. Is everybody okay with that? How do I get them to cancel?
Change signs.
And if you look, both cancel. This is going to happen. This is going to happen when you get a placement like you have to fill in. Okay, so don't freak out that things are canceling out. It's okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. And I'm going to bring all of it down. Okay. How many times will V go into V?
Once.
Once. Distribute it. 1 times V is V. 1 times negative 7 is -7. We're going to change our signs to get those V's to cancel out. And what are we left with? 4.
Positive.
Yeah, that's your remainder. And this is typically what's going to happen if you have to fill it in. There's going to be stuff that's missing, and that's okay. So our final answer would be V squared plus 1 plus our remainder of 4 divided by V minus 7. Now again, that's long division. When you do synthetic, it's easier to look at, okay? So don't stress out too much. I want to go to number 22. Number 22. What's different about number 22?
There's a number in front of the K.
Yes, a number in front of the K. When you do long division, you don't do anything different. It's not missing any terms. So we just write it like normal. Again, there is nothing. You do nothing different. How do I get 5K to look like 5K cubed?
5K.
K squared.
Yeah, I just need K squared. I already have the 5, so I just need some more K's. So I'm going to do K squared. Distribute. K squared times 5K.
5K cubed.
K squared times -3. -3K squared. How do I get them to cancel out? And you get -50K squared. If you guys notice, it's always going to be a factor that you can work out here. It's not going to be anything crazy. Bring down our 5K. What can I multiply by 5 to get -50? And what can I multiply by K to get K squared? -10 and K. And if you look on the top, it'll always go down in order. K squared, K, and then our next term will not have a K. Okay, it'll always do that. Distribute -10K times 5K is -50K squared. What is -10K times -3?
30K.
30.
Yeah, positive 30K. Negative times negative is positive 30K. What do we do now?
Change the signs.
Perfect. Then I get -25K plus 24. 5K times what gives me -25K?
-5.
Distribute. -5 times 5K is where we got the -25K. -5 times -3.
15.
Positive 15. How do I get them to cancel?
Change the signs.
What is 24 minus 15?
9.
So my final answer is what we have on top, plus our remainder over what we were dividing by. All right, are y'all okay with long division? Feel good about it? Zoomers, everybody okay with long division? We're not done yet, but if you need more help with long division, make sure that you ask me and I'll help you out, okay? We're gonna go back to the beginning because they're pretty easy problems. So back to number 3, and I'm gonna show you synthetic. Guys, it's so easy, so easy. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna make a backwards L. Backwards box, whatever you wanna call it. In that box, you're gonna put your x-intercept for what you're dividing by. The reason I say that is because we were just working with x-intercepts yesterday, right? So if we have a factor of x plus 1, what is our x-intercept? -1. So it's always gonna be whatever x equals is going in the box. So if it's a factor, you're changing it, but eventually we're gonna have x equals, you're gonna put the number in there. So today, all you gotta remember is change the sign, okay? So change the sign. Then out to the side, you're going to put all of the coefficients of each term. So coefficients of the number in front of x, okay? And then that single term all by itself. You're going to put all those out there. So what is the number in front of x cubed? We're going to put it right beside the box. What's your next number? Make sure you put the sign with it, -2. What's your next number? And your last number. Remember, if we skip one, we put in a 0, okay? So don't forget that. That still counts in this as well. You're going to skip a little bit of space. So if we were writing on notebook paper, I'd say skip a line, draw a line. Okay, skip a line, draw a line. So just leave room to write. Everybody okay with the setup? Your first step, every single time, your first step is to bring down that first number. I don't care what that number is, bring it down. Now it just repeats itself over and over again. You multiply it by the box. What's 1 times -1? That goes underneath the 2. Add them. What's -2 plus -1? Once it comes below the line, multiply by the box. What's -3 times -1? You're going to add them. So -4 plus 3. Multiply by the box. -1 times -1 is. And then add them. Everybody go with -9? I always draw a little squiggly line here. That last number is your remainder. That last number is always your remainder. So here's how you write it. What is the highest power that we started with in the problem? 3. We drop it down to 2. So if you look at all your answers, we started with 7b cubed. What is our answer? 7b squared. If we look at this one, we started with n cubed. Our answer is n squared. Does everybody see that? So we always drop it down 1 power. So we started with x cubed. So we're going to use these numbers right here. 1x squared because we're dropping it down. And I'm going to put the numbers, but I'll stop putting them eventually, like the ones, like they don't matter. We have a -3. We drop our x's down by 1. So x squared, x, no x's, and then our remainder. Then we just have a -1. That should not have any kind of x. Okay, our last number is -9. It is our remainder. So we always divide it by whatever we were dividing by. That's it. So we're going to do this a couple times. You'll get it. It's really easy. So what people typically mess up on this, 2 things. They forget to pull down the first number. Okay, they forget to pull down the first number, or they mess up their signs. So make sure you're adding correctly, okay? So like this, they would give me like -11. Be careful on that. Okay, so those are the things you need to watch. All right, so on the next one, what's going in my backwards box? -5. So again, our factor is n plus 5. So in the box is -5. Check your numbers. I have n cubed, n squared, 1n, no n. So I don't have any skips. I'm good to go. What are your coefficients, your leading coefficients all the way across? 3, 9, -26, 18. Skip a line, draw a line. What's your first step? Always bring down the first one. What do I do now? Multiply. So bring down, multiply. 3 times -5. Add. -6. Multiply. +30. Add. 4. Multiply. Remember that's your remainder. And we have a remainder of -2. Make sure you write the negative with that. So we started with n cubed in our problem. So what are we going to start with in our answer? N squared. So 3 n squared. If you happen to change these to x's, I don't count off for that, okay? Don't worry about that. So 3n squared. What comes next?
-6n.
-6n. Keep going. Plus 4. How do I write my remainder?
minus 2 over n plus 5.
You can also write plus negative 2 over n plus 5. That is perfectly fine. All of them are the correct answer. Very good. Drop down to number 6. What goes in my backwards box? Negative 1. Across. 8. 3. Negative 13. And 1. Skip a line, draw a line. First step. Bring down that 8. Multiply. Negative 8. Add. Negative 5. Somebody else, multiply.
Positive 5.
Positive 5. Add it up. Negative 8. Multiply. Positive 8 gives you a remainder of, we started with a cubed. So our answer is going to start how?
A squared.
8a squared. Keep going.
Minus 5a.
Keep going. Minus 8. Yes, perfect. And then?
Plus 9 over a plus 1.
That's it, y'all. That's it. So I told you long division was, it's not hard. It's just long. So synthetic is super quick and easy. Okay. All right, let me see if I can find a little bit tougher. I don't want any on these pages. Let's go to that back page again. Go up to number 15. I lied. Go to 19. 19. It's the same concepts. What I want to find. What would go in the backwards box on 19? Positive 10. What goes out to the side?
1.
1.
Negative 10.
Perfect.
0.
0 because I don't have an M term, a single M. Good job. And then? Negative 5. Perfect, guys. Perfect. Bring down the 1. Times 10.
10.
When I add that up, what happens?
They cancel out.
Yeah, so remember up here when we did this one, I told you things are going to cancel out like crazy. So anytime you skip, it'll do that. Okay. So multiply. 10 times 0 is, which gives you another 0. Times 10 is, and we have a remainder of negative 5. So what was our highest power that we started with?
M.
M cubed. So we're going to drop this one to M squared. I don't have an, if you need to do it like this, I don't have an M term. I don't have anything after that. All I have is my remainder, right? How do I write my remainder?
Plus negative 5
over n minus 10.
And I'll fix that in just a second. Perfect. You can say plus negative 5, or you can just say 5. All right. Y'all ready? What about 20? Let's try 20. I want you to try 20 on your own for just a minute. Try 20 on your own. You ready? What's going in the box?
Okay.
Kraus?
5, negative 12, 12, and negative 20.
Bring down your 5 times 2 is 10. You get negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. You get 8 times 2 is 16. And what's negative 25 plus 16? Negative 9. Is everybody good? So your final answer should have been 5m squared minus 2m plus 8 minus 9 over m minus 2. Is everybody okay? Pretty quick, right? Not too bad. All right, so what happens if you have this 7x minus 10 like this? You guys remember when we did slide and divide where that 7 came from? Where did that 7 come from? When we did slide and divide. Where did the 7 in the front come from?
When you had a remainder, you had to bring it up.
Yeah, so we had a factor like this. And so we slid it to the front. Does everybody remember that? So when you get one like this, just kind of think about it and change it to this. And then keep doing it the same way. Okay, there's one extra step in these that people tend to forget. One extra step, but everything else is the same right now. So I'm going to put a 10 over 7 in this box. Put my numbers out to the side, negative 63, 104, 1, and negative 33. Now listen carefully. Every number that you have on the bottom will be divisible by 7. Okay, it'll make it easy. It'll make your life easy. We're going to bring down negative 63. You can do this in your calculator if you like. I do it in my head, but if you can't, that's fine. 10 divided by 7 times negative 63 gives you what? Negative 90. We're going to add that to 104. What do we get? Remember I told you everything down here would be divisible by 7.
14.
Yep. 10 divided by 7 times 14 is 20. Plus 1 is 21, which is divisible by 7. So 10 over 7 times 21 gives you 30. And I have a remainder of what? Now, this is not your answer. What did I tell you? Everything down here would be divisible by?
7.
Yeah, so whatever you did here, now we got to take it out. So we're going to divide these by 7. Do not touch the remainder. Do not touch the remainder because we're going to divide it by 7x minus 10 anyway. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so do not touch the remainder, just these. So what's negative 63 divided by 7?
Negative 9.
And we're dropping it down to x squared. What's 14 divided by 7?
2.
2. We're dropping it to x. 21 divided by 7 is 3. And we had a remainder of negative 3, and we're dividing it by 7x minus 10. I want to quickly do one more of those just to show you one more time, okay? Just one more of those. Let's go to number 27. What are we going to change this factor to instead of 5n minus 8?
8 over 7.
8 over what? 8 over 5, right? What's going in the backwards box? 8 over 5, positive 8 over 5. Out to the side. 3, 2, 1, no n, so we're good. 5, 7, 1, sorry, negative 30. Is everybody okay? Drop your 5. 8/5 times 5 is 8. 8 plus 7 is 15. 8/5 times 15 is 24. 24 plus 1 is 25. 8/5 times 25 is 40. And I have a remainder of 10. What's that next step that I have to do? Divide everything by 5 except for the remainder. Do not divide the remainder. Do not touch the remainder. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. Instead of n cubed, we're going to have n squared. You can put the 1 or not. It's up to you. 15 divided by 5. We get 3n. And then 25 divided by 5 is 5. We have a remainder of 10, and we're dividing that by 5n minus 8. Any questions? Is everybody good? I do not care how you do your quiz, whether you use long or synthetic division, okay? Does everybody understand that? So when you go to your quiz, if you want to use all of them, if you want to do all of them by synthetic, that's fine. It won't take you very long at all. If you want to do a couple by long division just to practice it, that's fine as well, okay? Everybody good? All right. I'm going to stop sharing, stop recording. I got about 2